Hey everybody, it's Rykard here again, back with another black and white Pokemon analysis. Today, we're going to be discussing the Whirlwind Pokemon known as Tornelos. So let's get started by taking a look at its typing, abilities, and stats. So first off, Tornelos is the only mono-flying type to ever exist in a Pokemon game thus far, which is pretty cool and definitely means that it will be a rather interesting Pokemon to use due to the fact that, unlike most other flying types which are generally normal flying, Tornados can actually resist fighting type moves, which can come into play seeing as there are a ton of fighting type Pokemon that are generally used in the standard play, overused, whatever you want to call it. So that's a really cool thing and obviously will come in handy when you need it to. But other than that, you know that it also resists grass, immunity to ground, and bug, and you're weak to electric, ice, and rock. But that should come as no surprise to you since most other flying types use the same kind of weaknesses and resistances. But as for the abilities, the first one it gets is known as Mischievous Heart, which is a really cool ability that makes it so that non-attacking moves have priority. So basically any move like Substitute or Toxic or something like that has +1 priority similarly to like the way Mach Punch does. So that can definitely come in handy and allow you to use some interesting strategies, one of which I will show you later in one of the sets. But its second ability is known as Competitive Spirit, which it gets in the Dream World. And this ability allows you to get a +2 attack boost every time one of your stats is lowered by your opponent's Pokemon. So this would work in the sense that if your opponent comes in with a Pokemon that uses Intimidate, you'll get the -1 attack boost from Intimidate and then a +2 attack boost from Competitive Spirit, meaning that you'll be at +1 in physical attack. So that's really cool and can definitely come in handy with a variety of other special defense drops that are caused by a lot of special attacking moves like Psychic or Shadow Ball and things like that, because getting the drop will only increase your physical attack further. As for the stats though, it has 79 HP coupled with 70 defense and 80 special defense, which really aren't the best defenses in the world, but can be put to use if you want to because of the fact that this Pokemon learned to bulk up, and you can make use of Mischievous Heart with that combination, which I again will show you later. But they're not actually terrible defenses, so don't think that they're bad just because of the fact that they kind of match up with a lot of other Pokemon that are high powered and high speed, but not a lot in the defense area. But as for the attacking stats, it has 115 physical attack and 125 special attack, meaning that you can definitely do a lot of damage from either the physical or special side, depending on which one you choose. Obviously, the special attack will probably be more rewarding because of the fact that it's a higher base stat, but you could also try and run a mixed set with this thing, which is definitely plausible, even though I did not make one for this video. But lastly, we have its speed, which is at 111, which is great speed, meaning that this Pokemon can be very fast and do a lot of damage because it'll be outspeeding a lot of other Pokemon. But that is it for the stats and things, so let's get started by taking a look at a couple of different sets for this Pokemon. So first off, we have this set, which we're going to give Tornelos a timid nature to increase its speed but lower its physical attack. And then for the ability, we can pretty much use either. It doesn't really matter in this situation, but I can kind of give you a reason for one of them when I talk about the moves. But for the EVs, we're going to put 4 into HP to give you one more point to that, 252 into special attack to give you max special attack possible with timid nature, and then 252 into speed to give you your max speed possible. As to the item, we're either going to be using a Lumberry, which I would prefer as the item, or Life Orb if you want to do as much damage as possible. But personally, I would go with Lumberry just so you can avoid status, or at least switch Tornelos in to take a status and potentially threaten whatever Pokemon was trying to status you. And this works especially well against Breelooms because they're 4 times weak to flying, and they'll probably want to Spore as soon as they come in, or Substitute. So you can just Air Slash twice and then it'll be dead, unless it switches out, obviously, which is what you want to happen. But for the moves, the first one is Taunt, or U-Turn, and the reason why I said I would explain why I would use one of the abilities over the other is if you're using Mischievous Heart, your taunt will have +1 priority, and therefore you'll pretty much always be able to taunt something, and this could be very useful in a variety of situations, obviously, But if you don't want to go with taunt, go with U-turn, and therefore that'll allow you to get switch advantage when things want to try and switch out. But personally, I wouldn't recommend that due to the fact that you're a flying type, so the next time you come back in, you'll be at 50% of your health because of stealth rocks that will probably be on the field. So that's really not the most advisable thing to do, especially because this Pokemon can't learn Roost. And yeah, so that's pretty much the first move, or the first move slot and what I think about it. But for the next one, you could either use Air Slash or Gale. Air Slash is probably the better option due to the fact that you can probably get a flinch because you're faster, but Gale would be very useful if you're using a team that's setting up Rain, because Gale has 100% accuracy in Rain and also has a chance to confuse and is probably the most powerful special flying type move. So that's great if you're using a Rain team, but other than that, you should probably go with Air Slash. The other two moves are going to be Focus Blast and Hidden Power Ice, just to give you different type coverage, and they'll definitely allow you to hit a bunch of things for super effective damage if you can't do that already with Air Slash or something like that. But it's some pretty good type coverage you get with this set, and it can definitely allow you to do a lot of damage to a variety of different things that you'll encounter in your battles. Lastly, we have this set, which is kind of like two sets for the price of one, and you'll see why. But first, we're going to give Tornelos a Careful Nature to increase its special defense and lower its special attack. And then we're going to be making use of the ability Mischievous Heart to allow us to get priority on our non-attacking moves. As for the EVs, though, we're going to put 252 into HP to max out that stat, 4 into attack for 1 more point into that, and then 252 EVs into your special defense to give you max special defense. As for the item, you could either make use of Leftovers or a Chestoberry, depending on which set of this you're going to be making use of. But first, the move that we're going to be like centralizing this whole set around is using Bulk Up. And since you have Mischievous Heart, Bulk Up will obviously have +1 priority, meaning that you will always have a chance to boost your physical attack and physical defense by 1 stage, no matter what is in or what else is on the field. And this is great, because since we're maxing out special defense, our physical defense is sort of lacking. So having a bulk up will definitely be beneficial in allowing us to take hits from both the physical and special side. It'll also obviously increase our attack, which is great because we're not putting any EVs except for that 1 point into that. As for the next move though, we're either going to be making use of Substitute or Rest. And the reasoning for either would be if you're using Substitute, that will also have +1 priority, so that's great and will definitely allow you to be behind a safe wall where you can continue to bulk up and increase your defense. And with those defense boosts and your max special defense because of the EVs and things like that, chances are things won't be able to break the sub as easily as they would normally be able to. And that's where Leftovers comes in handy because of the fact that you'll be recovering HP at the end of every turn, thus kind of remedying the health you lose from Substitute. But you could also go with Rest if you want to just bulk up as high as you can possibly go, and then rest off all the damage, in which you would then use Chestoberry as your item, so that you can wake up immediately. As for the attacking moves though, the first one for your flying type stab is either going to be Fly or Acrobat. And along with Fly, you could use Aerial Ace, I guess, but just because Fly is there and it's more powerful, I decided to put that one in. But basically, with the first set, you're going to be wanting to use Fly because it's the most powerful move you can get with a physical flying type attack. So that's always beneficial when you're bulk upping, or bulking up, whichever one. But if you're using the second of the two in this video, you would make use of Acrobat, because after you rest, you'll lose your Chestoberry, and then Acrobat will increase in power to be, I think, 110 as opposed to 55, because it's a move that increases or doubles in power when you're not holding an item. So that will definitely allow you to do a ton of damage with a flying physical move like Acrobat. And then next, we have Revenge or Hammer Arm, depending on which of the sets you're using again. Revenge is more useful on the bulk up Substitute set because of the fact that things are going to be trying to break your sub, so therefore Revenge will have more power since it has more power when you are attacked before your opponent, or sorry, you're attacked by your opponent and then you go second in the turn. So that's why Revenge would be more useful, because it's a 60 base power move that doubles to 120 when your opponent goes first and tries to attack you. For the other side though, you would use Hammer Arm just because it's consistent 100 base power fighting type damage that you could easily get off. And obviously with bulk ups and things like that, you will be doing a lot of damage with it. So this is a really interesting physical set that Tornelos can make use of, and can definitely be very powerful because of Mischievous Heart's ability to allow you to bulk up easy and increase your stats to allow you to do damage. But that is it for Tornelos, guys, so take care and goodbye.